good morning. It's not. It's good afternoon. It's beautiful weather here in Teddington, where I've been at the Co-op Homes AGM, and it's so good, the weather, that I might finally get into the gardens to film. Hooray! But first of all, I need to go home and eat because my brain is slightly short of energy following that.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
Anyway, hello. How are you? How are you doing? You well? Is it all good? I hope so. Welcome to the last vlog shot on this phone, which is a really uneventful, an amazing event. But after 3 years, this phone will be retiring on Friday, which means it'll probably give up before Friday. That's usually how technology responds. As it was at least 10 minutes before the bus came, I decided to make the most of it. I've enjoyed this leisurely walk through the wonderfully expensive parts of Teddington suburbia. I'm going to do more walking this afternoon, obviously, but this is a bit more relaxed. Well, that is just odd, isn't it? I mean, why is there someone's head on the garage? Do they put heads of, intruders on spikes? I thought this was a nice neighbourhood. So, Crystal is at a spa day with some of her mates today. So, it's a lovely day for it, to be honest. So it kind of worked well because I was at the AGM. So I'm going to go home, have some lunch, get my stuff and go out. And then tomorrow is Open House London. So we should be able to visit a few interesting places. I don't want to tell you which ones I'm hoping to see, just in case we don't get there. But nonetheless, there's some impressive properties on the list. So hopefully you'll see that very shortly. But first of all, I've got to remember where I'm going, because I don't usually go down this road, and I've just realised I don't know which way to turn at the end. Good. So we came back through Twickenham last night, and it was absolutely hideous. It was the opening match of the Rugby World Cup, England-Fiji. England won. I don't know if that's better or worse. Twickenham is an enormous stadium, if you've never been, and Twickenham is a tiny town, and those two things don't really work well together. Luckily, most of the rest of the matches are weekends. I think all the remaining Twickenham matches are the weekend, not on weekdays. Usual things, the transport system buckled under the weight, and then trains broke down and the whole thing went to crap very quickly. None of which was avoidable, to be fair. It was inevitable. It's just the way it goes. There was a train broke down at Richmond before the match, and then there was problems, a person on the line after the match, and so people couldn't get into Twickenham station. They went to Richmond station and there was too many people and they were piling onto the buses, and as a local who isn't a big fan of rugby, it was quite challenging to get back home last night, but we made it. So I'll be avoiding Twickenham until November now, other than the occasional board meeting in Teddington. This is better. Look. The autumn crocuses. Just starting to come out. I always find it gives me a sort of false hope. I think, oh, spring. No, autumn. Well, never mind. They're still very nice to look at. Anyway, I've just finished up filming, so I'm heading back. It's gone a bit grey, as they said it would, but it's quite helpful when you're filming, actually. Especially when you're filming things with backlight. So let's head back and see what I've got, see if I need anything more. It's crocus-tastic. Welcome to central London on a Sunday morning. I was going to say this is about the only place you can go to escape rugby fans, but that's not true because they're everywhere. We're wandering around looking for tall buildings to see how crazy the queues are. So here is the appropriately named cheese grater. You can see why it's called that. It actually looks more like a piece of cheese than a cheese grater, but there we go. And in the distance there you can see a massive queue. That is people who are queuing all the way down the road, round the corner to get into the gherkin. This is the inside of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Whitehall. Mr. Bevan. The Locarno Suites, home of where the Locarno Treaty was signed. So this is an amazing central courtyard, which is actually covered, which is a very good idea in this country. And next we're going into this remarkable space, the India office. This is the interior of the Treasury. So this is the circular courtyard in the Treasury, which is really interesting because you don't get many circular courtyards. People tend to build big squares, but this is a really nice circle. Also means there's curved corridors inside, which I really like. But yes, as I was saying, so next door you saw in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, it's filled with diplomats, so lots of art and history and what have you. And this is the Treasury, so it's filled with accountants, which means it's really, really not much to look at. Look at the amount of mushrooms growing in our garden. This dude's eating them, which is why he's going crazy, because he's having a few too many magic mushrooms. Sends him over the edge. So we just got back from open house in London. We did try and go to the Gherkin, but the queue was 2 hours long by 10 o'clock, and they had to shut the queue down altogether at 2 o'clock because the queue had reached 3.5 hours long. Ridiculous. The problem with open house is it's become very mainstream now, and it's just really a competition of how early you can get out of bed, which is a bit of a shame, really. There we go. The same problem with the Bank of England. We were going to go to that, but it turns out, although they didn't say this on the website, they had limited ticket allocations and they'd used them all up by about 10:30. So we didn't get to that either. So you did see the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and we went into the Treasury briefly. We weren't going to go to the Argentine ambassador's office, but by that point we were actually a bit tired with the whole thing, so we decided to come home instead. So it was quite a productive day in the morning, at least, although we did have to get up, and to no avail, and I've got to get up early tomorrow as well, so yay. Well, this is ridiculous. It's 6:45, the sun is up. It literally rose 1 minute ago, so let's go to work. Brilliant. Love mornings, they're great. Just in case it hasn't become obvious over the last 5 years, I'm not a morning person. I don't dislike mornings, I just dislike being awake in the morning. Mornings are great if you're in bed. Otherwise they're a bit sucky, and today is no exception. But I had a choice. I could either come in early and finish at normal time, or come in normal time and finish late. And the problem is, when you don't know how long the project's going to be, it's better to start than not. So here we are, heading for a train I was surprised to learn even existed. Anyway, I can have a line tomorrow, I'm assuring myself. There is a small chance that won't happen. I'm pretending like there is no chance that won't happen. This is nature's compensation for having to get up this early. To be fair, it's doing a pretty good job. But still, I'd rather be in bed. Well, here we are. It's going to be literally just me in this office with this hard disk until Steve gets here, and his ETA is 2.5 hours. If I'm still not crazy by that point, it will be a huge success. That's the Shard in the clouds. Isn't that amazing? Love it. Anyway, I made it to the end of the day. There was points where I didn't think it was going to happen. The problem with these heavy edit days, hard to say when you're tired as I am, is that You're literally just stuck in the same spot, staring at the same screen, as I've said before, for quite some time, and you have no real reference of time, so the whole day just happens, but your body is just fighting to leave the room. Like, I can't explain it. Anyway, it's done now. I'm going to go home, and we might even have Chinese food, so not a bad day really. I'm in denial that it's autumn. I mean, I know technically we're getting towards the equinox, and you know, the first day of autumn is supposed to be like September the 21st, but I'm in denial. Now the problem is that the weather is not helping, so it's raining and there's a sort of yellow light through the clouds, and look at these trees. I mean, that is not the colour of a tree in summer, so yeah, there's a problem. Okay, great news. I just spoke to Siri, and apparently the equinox this year is on the 23rd of September. That's Wednesday. It's only Monday, so it's summer. Yep. It's definitely summer. Well, that's a relief. Today has been board paper crazy, so it is the service delivery committee tonight, and it starts at 7. And I will be walking there because I feel like I need a walk and because I have the time to do that, which is hugely pleasurable because very often I don't. There is no rugby on, so I will not be disrupted, but I think it's time we go for a walk. So happy last day of summer, I guess. It wasn't going to rain anymore today. Luckily though, I came out with a jacket because this is kind of tropical, so that's nice. It'll brighten up in a minute, hopefully. So as I'm walking up here, I'm reminded that this weekend is the Shine nighttime walking marathon, which means it's been a year since we did it, which is unbelievable, to me at least. This used to be part of one of our Wednesday training walks. Crystal's mum is doing it again this year, and good luck to her because I'm not sure I could do it again. We did think about it, we thought about the half marathon, but didn't feel like we wanted to do the same thing again. We'll come up with some other idea at some point. It did feel like it eats your entire summer to get ready for it. Plus, I'm not entirely sure I've forgiven them for making it like 1.5 miles or 2 miles longer than the marathon length. So next time I do one of those things, I would want to be more certain of the distance. Anyway, the weather has improved, like I hoped it would. I'm going a different way to Teddington today. We're going via Ham. This is Ham Common, you may recognise it. It's in the Specsavers advert behind Trevor McDonald. Interesting fact. He lives just around the corner in Mortlake. Please don't go and stalk him. Right, now the sun's come out and there's a beautiful light. We're going to walk towards the sunset, which is where Teddington is, and presumably some sort of pot of gold or something at the end. Hello, happy autumn. Look at the contrast. It's beautiful out, really stunning. Anyway, I'll be making the most of this a little later. I've just got to do a bit of shopping first, and then hopefully go for a bit of a walk. That's a bit bright, isn't it? And I do have a couple of projects to be getting on with simultaneously, which is somewhat of a problem, but I will crack on as best I can. Good morning. I've got crazy hair. I've got too much. Apologies if I do that. Is that better? No, probably not. So I've just done the one thing that makes you feel like an adult, like nothing else. Speaking about your mortgage with your bank. Woo! Yeah, it's been that's been good. Anyway, I'm coming to the end of my fixed rate mortgage, and these are the moments when you need to look at those numbers and think, oh my god, how am I going to continue to pay this for another 2 decades? So there we are. So I'm actually very pleased with where I've got to on that, and you really couldn't be a better time to take out a mortgage if you're thinking about it. I'm not a mortgage advisor, but interest rates are at a historical low and they will not be for much longer. So there we go. Yeah, that was a good way to spend this morning. Now I'm going to do something slightly more constructive, although slightly less financially beneficial. So we're walking again. It's the Co-op Homes board meeting today. So I figured walk so nice on Tuesday. Let's do it again. Going to change it slightly because I hate to do the same walk twice. But still through Ham, and it'll still be very nice. I've been working on a video all day today for a former boss of mine, which is always fun. And I seem to do a lot of work for former bosses. I must not piss them off enough when I work there. Must try harder. And I'll be continuing that tomorrow, although temporarily distracted by a new shiny iPhone. So we're going along the towpath this time. This enormous plane tree outside Gaucho is one of the oldest plane trees on the bank of the Thames. It's absolutely huge and absolutely stunning, and I bet the view from the top is awesome if you're a squirrel. Anyway, we're going to continue along the towpath all the way to Ham House, and then we're going to cut through Ham and then back onto the route we were on before into Teddington. Oh, also, reason to visit Gaucho, they have a golf cart, and frankly that's a reason to visit anywhere. When I get to do walks like this, I'm aware that I'm ever so lucky to live in this part of the world. So lucky, in fact, that one of my greatest fears is that I won't be able to live here at some point in the near future. And that's mainly to do with house prices. That is a bridge I will have to come to at some point and hopefully cross. Problem is, obviously, house prices here are ridiculous. And if you move away, then house price growth anywhere else does not match this. So it'd be very hard to move back. Nonetheless, one problem at a time. And make the most of it while you got it. Which is why I do so much walking. Called in Ham. I cut through a bit earlier than before. I thought I might be able to get past the German school and see their bit of the Berlin Wall, but unfortunately it's well within their grounds and you can't get in there unless you're invited, obviously. So I'm continuing through the alleys, and then I'm going to see if I can cut through a very, very strange named road at the end there. Sorry, did I say the alleys? I mean the avenues. Ham Avenue. It's much posher than you imagine. Anyway, this here, which we're going to go down hopefully, this is an alley, unlike the avenues. This is called Cutthroat Alley. Isn't that an amazing and very disturbing name? I honestly don't know why, but I imagine it's in the grounds of the king, so it's a fairly good chance that either the people who were in big trouble got led this way, or more than likely the highwaymen used to hang outside the walls here of the court and do some mischief, which is also quite possible. Anyhow, I'm not dead. It's not a royal palace. I'm a bit short on facts today. Ham House was a manor house. I'm sure the royal family stayed there several times, but I don't believe it was owned by the royals. Although I'm now going to go and have to look that up. So, yeah, sorry, facts I don't know. We're just cutting across one of the many bits of common ground in Ham to get to the Teddington Lock footbridge. There's so much green space in Ham, it's really quite impressive. Now the housing is a strange mishmash of sort of 70s and 80s and a bit of 90s. It's not aesthetically stunning, but I quite like it for its idiosyncrasies. But it's quite... I'm getting into Ham, I'll be honest. If it weren't for the lack of train station, this would be prime estate. It's ever so green and ever so peaceful. You're actually away from the Heathrow flight path, which is life-changing. So there we go, board meeting done. That was exhausting and quite a bit more confrontational, let's say, than previous meetings, but it was very interesting and I still enjoy it. It's a good rush of blood, as it were. Right, I'm going home now. Good morning, it's Friday, it's a beautiful day, and today is the 1999th day of the vlog. Yes, I have worked that out, and it is true. I started on the 6th of April 2010, and that means tomorrow, which is the next vlog, will be day 2000. Hooray! To celebrate, I've bought myself a new iPhone. Actually, these two things are related. But next week will be day 2000. When it's not a daily vlog, that's not such a big deal. Although, obviously, you know, I'll still be banging on about it. Week 300 is really what I'm slightly more excited about, because this is a weekly vlog, and week 300 is in January, so we've got a bit of time before then. So Mikros Pavlos, if you're watching / listening, we need to do some new things before then, okay? Right, let's get to the important things in life, like how to spend £600. There we go. Let's get it out. So I've come somewhere with a bit more natural light. The good old Apple boxes that only just open. Engineered boxes, you understand. It's opening. You're going to have to be patient. Ta-da! It's an iPhone, which looks exactly like an iPhone, because they all do. Hooray! Right, now I'm going to set it up. I've set it up. This is it. You're watching me on it. New phone. The bigger screen is nice in terms of me being able to see my own face. Other than that, it's just a bit faster and the camera's nicer, which is what I really wanted. It's been 3 years since I got a new phone. It's nice to have something, you know, up to date and quick. So I'm very happy, but I can't chat. Got to get back to work. Summer is back and it is awesome. Although I have been indoors working most of the day, but you know, you can't have everything. Anyway, I just thought I'd see how nice the colours look with the new phone, just for a bit of comparison. See how bright it is and how good the contrast is, because I'm geeky like that and that kind of thing interests me because it's my job. Sky's certainly very blue. Okay, we're going to leave it there because it is getting late and I need to eat. I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, because next week, as I said, is the day 2000 of the vlogs. We're going to have some very pretty looking pictures because we have a new camera. Everything's going to look very interesting. And hopefully there'll be some interesting things to see and do as well. So again, thank you, and I hope I'll see you next time.